Yo, what's up, Team ImSikovit? Patrick. Welcome to episode 6 of my Road to 200 Mil Slayer series. If you haven't seen the previous episodes yet, be sure to check out the playlist. First, linked in the description below. So in the last episode of the series, I talked about the Sunken Pyramid, which is this thing you can do for Slayer, where you basically go around collecting souls of various Slayer monsters to unlock rewards. There's 151 of them in total. I talked about what it is, how to start it, how it works, gave tips, and shared my own personal observations on it after doing it myself. You might want to watch the last episode first before watching this, or else you might get confused because this video is basically going to be a continuation of the last one. Because one topic I didn't cover last episode was the actual rewards. Now, of course, that's something you can just look up, which I did, but I actually wanted to unlock the rewards myself first so I can have a more informed opinion about the topic and be able to give my opinion on things such as what's worth it, what's not worth it, and whatnot. I wasn't able to do that last episode because I wanted to make a video where I already collected all 151 souls, and in the video you'll see me handing in everything to unlock the rewards. And yes, you actually have to hand it in. Meanwhile, I was saving the items in my bank for the video, which unfortunately I did not finish. I ended up with 139 before I decided to call it quits and make this video, because capturing the remaining 12 souls would just taken way too long, and I can't have that much wait time in between videos when I'm trying to get back into YouTube. 139 souls, however, is way more than enough for me to give informed opinion, though, and I will capture all 151 eventually, definitely before the series is over. Worst case scenario, if not, I'll continue the series just to finish that up. If anything, it shouldn't even take more than one extra episode. The thing is, since I pretty much completed my main objectives, which were to unlock all the good rewards and finally make this video, I'm not sure I'm going to try to hunt down the remaining souls as aggressively, but I think it'll happen either way. So anyways, let's talk about the rewards. The rewards you can unlock are dependent on how many souls you have deposited, and I don't mean how many in total, but the amount of different souls that you have deposited. Like, if you deposit 3 Abyssal Demon souls, it still counts as 1, but if you deposit an Abyssal Demon and a Dark Beast soul, that counts as 2. Like I said earlier, there's 151 different ones in total. The best reward, and the one that I think that most people go for, is a Slayer Experience boost. You do have to wear your Slayer helmet in order to get this boost while you're training, and all you probably wear that anyways when you're training Slayer. At 20 souls captured, you get 1% boost, 40 is 2%, 60 is 3%, 80 is 4%, and 100 is 5%. That's the max. There are other rewards as well. If you're interested in RuneScape lore, there's these things that you can unlock called murals. They're basically like paintings placed in the main room of the Sunken Pyramid. You can't actually see the image that well, but when you click on it, the ghost in the room will tell you the story behind that particular mural that you're looking at. You unlock the first mural at 10 souls, second mural at 30, third mural at 50, fourth at 70, fifth at 90, and the sixth and final mural is at 110. You won't be able to see all the murals immediately. You actually have to click on them and go through them in order so the ghost can tell you about it before the next one is available for viewing. I deposited 139 souls at once. Actually, I think it was... whatever. I just deposited over 100 souls at once. I was wondering why it was only showing me one until I actually clicked on it, talked to the ghost, and the next one showed up. Some additional rewards also include at 50 souls, you can use your Slayer Codex to teleport directly to the pyramid rather than going through Portmaster Kags, I believe his name is. Capturing 110 souls is a Master Quest Cape requirement. And finally, at 151 souls, the reason why I ended up choosing not to care for this is because this reward is purely cosmetic. It unlocks the Golden Slayer Master title, which I don't use titles anyways, and it is a trimmed completionist cape requirement. I'm not even close to completing the trim completionist cape requirements in general to even care about that, so I'm really just missing that last cosmetic reward at 151 souls, which is why I think 139 was way more than enough. for me to make a proper video on this topic. 110 was actually all I needed. If you want to know what I have left to capture, by the way, I have, let's see, Glaciors, Adamant Dragons, Camera Warriors, Acheron Mammoths, Nightmare Creatures, Dragonstone Dragons, Onyx Dragons, Hydrix Dragons, basically all 3 Gemstone Dragons, Imperial Guards, Moss Golems, Bulbous Crawlers, and Vine Crawlers, which, once again, all 3 creatures of the Lost Grove, or whatever they're called, which these really suck, by the way, because it's going to take a really long time to capture. Just one of these, considering they're all high level monsters, and I do not enjoy killing most of them. If I wasn't trying to capture souls, most of them would probably be on my block list, and my block list was full, they would be canceled. So anyways, the last thing I want to talk about in regards to Sunken Pyramid is the Personal Slayer Dungeon, which in my opinion is super overrated. It's overrated because it sounds better in theory than it does in actual execution. First off, let me explain my thought process when it came to putting my Personal Slayer Dungeon together. So I use Morovan, which is the Slayer Master in the Elf City place, as a Slayer Master, obviously, and I wasn't sure what to put here first. So what I did was I looked up his Morovan's Rune Wiki page, and basically it'll tell you everything that he assigned, and I narrowed it down from there. I was looking for any monster where I just dislike something about the current spot that they're in, and I would consider the Personal Slayer Dungeon to be more convenient, like if it's hard to get to, if it's too crowded, there's something in the environment I don't like, such as if there's some kind of obstruction that gets in the way. I realize I don't really have an issue getting to any of the monsters. I have a teleport for just about everything. Well, not really everything, but the ones that I don't really have teleports for, the ones I tend to cancel anyway, so it's whatever. I tried to Abyssal Demons because they're usually pretty crowded, but that was actually a big fail. I didn't consider that you can only have a max of 5 spawns in there at a time, and I kill all 5 of them just way too fast, so it just wasn't worth it. I'd rather go to an area where there's a larger amount of them. I'm trying to set up a room for Ganodermic Beast in there, but I don't have enough souls. I'm only at 1 so far. That should be pretty decent. I want to put Ganodermic Beast in there because I don't want to deal with the runts, pretty much. Problem with the Personal Slayer Dungeon, though, is that you can't set up a cannon. You can use aggression potions, though, so it's not a terrible alternative. I also want to set up a room with manifest shadow creatures. If you don't know, there's 3 kinds of shadow creatures. They're different levels, so that means different XP rates, different drops, things like that. I would, of course, like to kill the highest level one for the best XP rate. However, I don't like the spot that they're in because all 3 types of shadow creatures are, for the most part, there and separated from each other, but there's a few random ones kind of like scattered throughout the place. Even though I go to a spot with the largest concentration of the one that I want to kill, there isn't too many of them due to the ones that are scattered randomly, which makes the spawning kind of slow unless you move around, I guess. I figure if I could put a bunch of them in a Personal Slayer Dungeon, I can AFK them and get better XP rates. Some of you might also be against doing a Shadow Creatures task in general just because they're not super great XP, but you guys know how I play at this point. If I can AFK them, kind of, I don't really care. I'll do it. So far, the Manifest Shadow Creature and the Ganodermic Beast are the only monsters I have in here, and I actually don't have anything else that I want to add. There are some other things that I wish I could add, but I can't due to certain limitations, which is another part of the reason why the Personal Slayer Dungeon is overrated. I wish I could put a Lava Strike Worm in here, because if you don't know, you have to go all the way to the lava maze in the wilderness to kill them. They give pretty good XP and they have good drops, but of course there's the risk of dying. You could go in there with cheaper armor, but then you sacrifice a little bit of efficiency and you still risk dying. Even though in the latter scenario you don't lose as much, it's still annoying to die and a complete waste of time. They don't let you put a lava strike rooms in here because there's an environmental mechanic or something like that where they basically have to be near lava, which is why you can only find them near the lava maze. Same thing goes for wall beasts, Acheron mammoths, and Virons. Other monsters such as Edemus and the other strike worms can be placed in here, but you still have to be on task to be able to kill them. Gemstone dragons can be placed in here, but they still require payment to be killed, if you're not on task, that is, of course.
Corrupted creatures and soul devourers can also be placed in here, but they still also require the feather for each kill. As you can see, there's quite a few restrictions, and I don't want to get into all of them. Most of them are not a big deal. I don't care for most of them, besides the lava strike worms, so I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying there's no real benefit to this. Now, despite my low opinion on the personal slayer dungeon and the minimal rewards there are for collecting souls and whatnot, I still believe this is worth doing. Minimal rewards, yes, but it doesn't take much effort to do regardless. Like, you literally go around just killing Slayer monsters, which you already do if you train Slayer. And if you don't train Slayer, then it doesn't matter because the rewards are, awards are for Slayer. I also gave my opinion from the perspective of someone who already has a high Slayer level when I started doing this. I feel like this was meant for a low level player to progress through as they level up, which I think is fine. Someone on my previous video said that they hope they would come out with more rewards for the higher level players, which I do see his point, but I'm not sure what else they could really offer. Like I said, this doesn't take much effort as it is. Even a 5% XP boost for Slayer is pretty decent for that. And two, you can't really say they didn't give higher level players anything, because you gotta remember this came out with the Manifold Slayer dungeon. The Manifold Slayer dungeon was meant for players with high Slayer levels. So yeah, that's all the information I have regarding the Sunken Pyramid, plus my tips. Do whatever you want with that information. But before I go, let's talk about my Slayer XP really quick. In the last episode, I ended off with 107.6 mil XP. In this episode, I got 113.4, almost 0.5 mil. Pretty dope. About almost 6 mil XP gain. Anyways, that's going to be the end of this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already for more videos to come. Catch you guys later. Peace.